Hey everyone, it's Jenna Melanson from Canadian Beats Media. I'm joined today by the award-winning Canadian country artist, Andrew Hyatt, for our latest segment of 5Qs. Welcome, Andrew.
Thanks for having me. How are you doing this morning?
Good, and you?
I am doing well. I am doing well. Just out in Calgary right now,
Okay,
so on the road, and yeah, I'm probably more tired, and my voice is probably a little more run down than it has been in a while. But that's okay. That's the joy of Stampede and seeing all your buddies.
for sure. So first off, care to introduce yourself a bit more in depth for our listeners?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Andrew Hyatt. I am a singer-songwriter, born and raised in Sudbury, Ontario. I now am kind of a vagrant, actually, between everywhere in Canada. I've just kind of been floating and I've been back and forth to the States, just kind of soaking in music and doing all that, the fun Nashville stuff and, living that artist life a bit. Yeah, been making records for a long time. We got new music right now and I'm very happy to have it out.
So you've unveiled your single, Still Something. Tell us a bit about the creative process behind that release.
Yeah, so this song, this is actually an older song. Like we recorded this pre-pandemic. Actually, so if those who have been following along, actually, we cut it pre-vocal surgery, and then this was a pitched song that I fell in love with. So when it came in, you know, it just kind of gave me this nostalgia of everything I did when I fell in love with music, right? And kind of that journey of I'm old enough to have put a tape in a tape machine
Hmm.
and waited and sat in my bedroom. I can remember I had this like dual cassette, whatever you want to call it, like boom box.
Yeah.
And I would sit there and just kind of record all the songs that I loved off this record or off the radio and make these mixtapes, pre CDs and whatnot. And yeah, this just really gave me the nostalgia of that and then the nostalgia of getting your license and kind of making out with a girl in your parents' car, all those like firsts, and then listening to music and how there's just such a timestamp. Your first concerts with your friends where you drove yourselves and you got into some trouble. Yeah, that really is what this song brought me back to, and I feel like somewhere along the way, music had kind of become more of a job than a passion, and I've really kind of inspired by this song ending up being the release. um, I've kind of been digging back into that. So it's kind of been a bit of an anthem for myself. It's been going over really well live. We hit pause on it, releasing it until I had vocal surgery, and then we recut it, and it sounds great. And I feel like it just gets better and better every time we play it live, and people seem to be reacting well. So I'm really excited for it.
Awesome. So you worked with Scott Cook on the track. How was that experience?
It was great. Chops and I, they call him Scotty Chops.
Hmm.
We've been working together now since "Do It With You" would have been the single. So man, I don't know, five,
Yeah,
6 years
wild.
maybe. We work really well together. This was done a little bit differently because um, I sang this whole record from my basement. So I kind of built a studio and just kind of dove into the recording rabbit hole. So so Scott recorded everything. We did this whole record remote, so nobody was ever in the room at the same time, from instrumentalists to drummers, or sorry, instrumentalists to singers to mixers. But it worked out really well. It was great, and yeah, just a different vibe. I think I prefer being in the room with him because it's nice to have some feedback and not just for hours be stuck in your own head wondering if you've gotten what you need. But we kind of got her dialed, so yeah.
If you could work with any fellow Canadian artist that you haven't already, who would you choose?
I, if it's Canadian, I feel like I've in some way or another I've probably worked with all of them already, whether that's writing or playing music. It's kind of funny. Like I grew up listening to Default in high school. Was one of
Hmm.
my favorite rock bands, and like I was on stage with Dallas last night. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So or 2 nights ago rather. So um, it's it's kind of mind blowing actually when I think about it, how lucky I've been because Canada is such a small market and it is hard to make a career as an artist in Canada. So I feel very blessed and very lucky to have worked hard and ended up in a situation where that's paid off so that I can you
Mm.
know, play music for a living. So yeah, I think I would love to do a track. I've always had this idea that I want to do uh, a record where I'm going to write a bunch of songs and then just myself and female artists, like like John Prine did a record like that a long time ago,
Okay.
and or not that long ago, but um, and I just loved it where he had feature artists, female artists on every single song, and I would love that. To me, I would love to do that, with Madeline, Megan, Kelly, Jessica, Mitchell, and I'm sure there's Jess Moskowitz. Like all of those women are just such forces in our industry,
Okay.
and I love their voices and I love what they do, and I get along really well with all of them. So it would be
Mhm.
dope to do that. That was the longest version of an answer that I could give you.
Well, I think you should probably do that. It sounds pretty like it would be really good.
Yeah, if it was just up to the artists, I'm sure it would be easy. But as soon as you
Yeah,
get contracts and all that
for
stuff involved,
sure.
it gets a little dicey. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So you're set to play some festivals this summer, and you have already, obviously.
yeah.
For someone who has yet to see you perform live, describe your performance in 5 words or less.
5 words or less describe my performances live. Um, I would say chaotic, sweaty, um, sad, and alcohol fueled. It's
Okay.
probably the best description of all those things.
Okay. What else do you have up your sleeve for 2023?
Um, so we've been sitting on music for a while because we knew that Still Something was going to be the single, and obviously it was off
Mhm.
the Four Good Years EP, which has been out a year in May. So it just took a little while to get to the third song to make it a single. So yeah, we're sitting on 6 songs, and then just recently I cut another 5. Um, I've always done kind of a side A, side B thing when I release a record. And with Four Good Years, I did one song, a song called High Tide, and then I did a Christmas song um, called All We Need. And I didn't get a chance to kind of finish that collection. Um, so I was kind of disappointed in myself because usually I like to do one that's full band and one that's stripped down and a little bit more emotional and raw. So for this record, I wrote 5. I wrote way more than that, but 5 songs that we have, and we're just sitting on them, and we'll be putting those out. And those are very sad. Those are like you get a glass of bourbon and you just
Okay.
sit alone in the dark and listen to them. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, so that's it for 5 Qs. Thanks for joining me, and congratulations on the new single.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you. Thanks for making time and putting up with my old man inability to connect headphones to a iPhone.
No problem.